Since our interview section is with 2 people, we'll be adding 2 new tracks to our project. Let's import those files the same way we did with our introduction file. File, Import, Audio. Since I want to import 2 files, I'm going to click on the first one, and then click Shift on my keyboard and click on the second one, and that allows me to select both files. Then I'll click Open. We can see that it added both files, each on their own track, but they're not in the right place on the timeline. If we play this now, it's going to play all the audio files layered on top of one another. Welcome to my podcast. I'm your host, Beth K. Gibbs, and this week we're going to be talking about editing podcasts. That's definitely not what we want. We want these interview files to come after the introduction, so we'll move them down the timeline. First, we need to select the file. Our first option is to click the cursor tool and highlight the whole track. Then we'll select a new tool called the Time Shift tool, which will let us move the highlighted section to a new spot on the timeline. The second option is to click this Select button on the track, which will highlight everything on the track and will let us move it. I'm going to line these 2 files up, and I'll know they're lined up because this thin yellow line appears when they are. If these files were recorded using the same device, lining the audio up this way should be correct. But this interview was recorded remotely, and Beth and Lizzie pressed record at different times, so it sounds like this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hi, Lizzie. Thanks for joining us today. Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks again for joining us. This is where our clap comes into play. We can see that a loud clap shows up as a spike on the waveform, so it's really easy to spot. We're going to move this audio so its spike lines up with the spike on the other track. Let's take a listen to this now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hi, Lizzie. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks again for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Now we know our audio is lined up. The claps aren't exactly perfect, but the audio is still in sync enough that the conversation sounds natural. We no longer need this clapping section on the podcast, so I'm going to highlight both tracks up until the official start of the interview and click Delete on my keyboard. It's important to highlight both sections so the tracks stay lined up. From now on, anytime you move this track, you want to move this track with it. Let's take a listen to the rest to see if anything else needs to be edited. Hi, Lizzie. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks again for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Okay, so it sounds like Lizzie coughed here, which is okay because we can edit it out. Now we don't want to cut this the same way we did earlier because if we delete this section will move over and it's no longer in sync. So we're going to use a new tool. Using the cursor, highlight the section with the cough, and then we're going to press this Silence Audio Selection button. And that's going to completely get rid of the cough. Let's take another listen. Hi, Lizzie. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks again for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Fantastic. The interview section sounds great, and now it's time to add in some music.